Happy Sunday. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday afternoon. It's Michelle from Pink and Maine. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully some people can pop in and join me for some crafting today. You can always watch it on replay. We're going to be working with the Songbird stamps, stencil, foilable. It's going to be lots of fun. We're going to make some really pretty cards with those products. I'm going to switch over here so that we can start creating. Let's see how I can. Just trying to get all my screens figured out. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone that's joining in on this Sunday afternoon. Hi, Melissa. Thanks everyone who's joining in. Just going to be creating, as I mentioned, with our Songbird products. So I have already stamped the Songbird stamp on this panel. And I just cut it with one of our stitched rectangle dies, give a nice little finished edge. And I colored this one with my Olo markers. So this is, just a look you can get by coloring it with markers. So I did a simple color with a few Olo markers for this one. And then you can easily just glue that down onto your card base. And you get a gorgeous card. I stamped out the sentiment that comes along with the stamp set. It says, thinking of you and smiling. And we can just add that on there as well. And you've got a simple card already finished. But we have some other things we can do with the Songbird products. So that is the stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and stick this down to the card base. So I have a card ready to go. So on this panel, as I mentioned, I used my Olo markers, which we do have at Pink and Maine. They are a great alcohol marker. They hold more ink than your Copic markers, but they work very similar. You can get a really nice brush nib. And they blend really well. I love the color variety in them. It's not overwhelming, but there's a lot of variety that you can use. So here is our card that I made with just the Songbird stamp, cut it out with a stitch rectangle die, and colored it with my alcohol markers. I'm going to set this one aside because we also have a Songbird foilable. So you can get a pack of Songbird foilable panels, and they're A2 size. They fit within an A2 card with a little border around them. They're 4 by 5 1/4, and it has that same beautiful image that the stamp set has. But I'm going to foil this one, and then we're going to color it with the stencil. Now, before we foil any of our foilables, you want to take a soft brush. I'm using our cleanup brush. Or you can use a soft makeup brush or a soft cloth. You just want to dust it off because you don't want any dust to be on top of your foilable and interfere with the foil adhering to it. You also want to take the back side of your foil and just gently dust it off as well. We don't want any dust, or in my case, I have a little Echo dog. His name is Echo. And you never know where a little stray dog hair may find its way into your crafting projects. We don't want that in our foiling, so we dust our foilables. So you always put your foil pretty side up. You make sure you cover the toner printed foilable completely. You don't want any toner showing through. So I usually cut my foil just a little bit larger than my foilable. And oh, we have to turn the ink machine on first. So I'm going to turn it on to 3. This is our Pink and Main ink machine. It's a great foiling machine. And it just takes a couple of minutes to heat up. So I'm going to set this one aside for just a couple of minutes. And I'm going to show you the stencil. I've also stamped another image of the Songbird stamp set. And then this is the stencil for the Songbird set. So it basically is 2 stencils. But if you look at it as half and half of the stencil, it colors, it has 4 panels basically where you can color in the Songbird image. I'm going to take and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see a little bit more than a couple of inches of my workspace here, which I'm working in about, I don't know, 8-10 inches of space. I'm used to it though. If you could only see the rest of this desk, you wouldn't believe I have a couple of piles on this desk that are about to avalanche and fall everywhere. So I better not sneeze. Anyone else working a craft desk like that? Don't you dare sneeze. We're still waiting on the ink meat. There it goes. Oh, I apologize about the phone. Should have turned that off, right? Let's see if I can reach the button. So sorry, guys. Here we go. Sorry about that. Nobody will ever call me on a Sunday afternoon, except if I'm live on camera, right? All right, so we're just gonna run this through. We got our foilable, our foil, and a transfer folder. We're gonna run it through the ink machine. And we're gonna foil that Songbird image. I hope you're all having a great Sunday afternoon. I have missed you guys. I haven't done a live video in a little while. I think it's been a couple of weeks. This past week we had some family in town, so before that I was preparing for that, and then it's always a little busier when you've got family visiting and staying with you. So I thank you all for joining me today. It's a little more calm. All right, we're gonna let the foilable cool off before we peel the foil away. You want it to be cool when you peel it. And I'm also gonna turn the ink machine off because we're not gonna foil anything else today. All right, this is my favorite part. I get so impatient waiting to peel this off and reveal. Oh, it's gorgeous. Now always save this piece of your foil because you can take a solid toner sheet, solid toner printed sheet, either in one of our colors or a black toner sheet, and you can put this on there and foil it, and you'll get that design on the solid toner sheet. But we've got our gorgeous foiled Songbird image. That just steps it up a notch, doesn't it? Oh boy, that's pretty. All right, I'm gonna set my card bases aside and we're going to color these panels with the stencil. So I'm just gonna get the stencils. Let's see. Let's do the foiled one first. And it doesn't really matter which stencil you start with first. I think I'll start with the greenery. As you can see, this has all the little leaves cut out of it. And I'm just going to line it up with my foiled panel. And at home, you might want to use like a sticky mat, or you might want to tape your stencil to your paper. I'm just going to be a rebel and I'm going to lay it there and hold it in place. This is one of those, don't do this at home. Just takes a second to line it up. It's lots of little leaves on here. One little hair this way and a hair that way. There we go. I'm going to use our ink pad, The Park, which is a nice lime green. I agree, Sunday is a great day to make cards. And I'm going to be using our ink daubers. These are made by the Maker Session, and I love them. They have sponge dauber tips on each end, and we sell the refills as well. But each dauber wand comes with some refills, and you just replace them when you need to, or if you're using a different color, you can just pop them on and off. But I just keep all of mine in this little plastic zippered bag. Just is convenient for me. And it also, they're a little inky. I do wipe them off after using them, but I keep them in the bag and it keeps the ink off of everything else. But they're so easy to use. I love them much more than those little finger ink daubers that you have to put on your finger. You just tap them in your ink pad and then tap them onto your stencil and of course the paper underneath the stencil. And they really do get saturated with ink. So if you want to test them on scratch paper before you go into your project, you can do that as well. I'm just going right in. I want nice dark green leaves. So we'll just go full on color. And they're really quick and easy to add, but they're great because they get into these little nooks and crannies in these small areas in this stencil. They're great for detail. Again, I'm just holding my stencil over the paper. You might want to use like a sticky mat of some sort or some washi tape on the back to hold it in place. I usually just take the risk and go for it. Hold it down. All right, there's our first set of leaves. Look how quick and simple and easy that was with that ink dauber. I'll let you see how it added that green in there. Really nice. All right. Let's go to the next panel, which is more leaves. just a little bit bigger leaves. I'm actually going to do this one upside down so that I can slide my stencil into my workplace a little easier. Again, I'll just take a second to line the stencil up where I want it. There we go. I'm going to use the same green, the park, but after I'm done using the green, I'm going to go in with our lakeside, which is teal, and I'm going to add a little pop of teal on the bigger leaves just to give them a little more dimensional look to them with a couple of blended colors. Again, I'm just tapping the ink dauber into my ink pad and then tapping it onto the paper. Our foilables are printed onto paper that has a little gloss to it. They're super smooth, just kind of slightly glossy finish. So it doesn't take a lot of ink to color them. Okay, so I've colored those leaves. But as I mentioned, I wanted to get just a little bit different color tone in there. So I'm going to blend a little of the lakeside, which is teal. I'm going to tap it off to the side of the stencil. See how much color these pick up? I want to tap it off just a little bit. So I'm adding just a touch of color to the inside of those leaves. Just the inside. And I'm just lightly tapping to get a little color off. I'm not even going back into that ink because that's a really deeper color and I don't need much at all. I'm going to tap even more off here on the stencil and then go back in and just going to go over it just a little bit more so I can blend those colors in. I'm just kind of tapping and going up, just tapping, not really brushing with it. You don't want to brush with these because they're more for tapping. All right, I think that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and see, I'm getting really inky. I'm a very messy stenciler. I always get ink all over me, but that's okay. That's half the fun. If you're not inky and messy, then are you really creating anything? Okay. I'm going to leave my lakeside open because I want to use that for my bird. So I get a little blue bird. I didn't grab my blue ink pad, so we'll make him lakeside. So I believe I'm done with this stencil. Yes, there's just greenery on this one, so I'll put this one out of the way for now. And then let's bring in the second stencil. Well, first I'll show you. Can you see how the larger leaves have like a blended color look? Just adding that little bit of blue to it. It gives a darker green with lighter green on the tips. Very nice. I'm going to do it upside down again so I can put my stencil over here to this side. And I'm going to do that bird. So let's get him lined up. He shifted a little bit. It's pretty easy to hold the stencil and the paper down when you're just using these ink daubers, because you're just kind of bouncing up and down on the paper. You're not brushing or rubbing back and forth. Oh, that doesn't look lined up. The flowers should line up and the bird should line up. And then we should be right. Slightly that way. There we go. All right. Let's do our bird. And I'm just using the same ink dauber end. See how much saturated ink you can get on these? So you really can tap off and get a lighter look, or you can really go in and get a lot of color. Okay, so when I'm typically done with this, I'll take like our microfiber cloth or even a baby wipe and just kind of tap off as much of that excess ink as possible. That way when I put it away, I know there's not like a ton of excess ink on there. I'll do that in a bit. I'm going to get my other one out. You really can just have one of these wands and just replace the sponge tip on it when you need to go to a different color. And when you pull the sponge off, you want to make sure you're grabbing the little plastic piece that's at the base of the sponge. You don't want to pull just the sponge, because you may tear it away from the base. But if you pull that little plastic piece, as you pull it out, you'll be able to swap it out really easily. Okay, I'm done with my Lakeside ink. So I love pink and orange together. So I've got our construction and our dress shop ink pad that they're orange and a bright pink. So we're gonna color these big flowers here. I think I'm going to start with the orange, which will be the lighter color, and then dab in some pink in the center. Just again to get like a color blended look. So I'm just tapping that dauber into the ink and onto the stencil. So quick and easy to color these in. I wanted to mention also that this month, March, is our birthday month, Pink and Main, and Pink and Main is 10 years old this month. So happy birthday to us. And we have been doing freebies all month long. We just ended one on Friday, and today we started one where if any order is going to get a package of pearls, just a random color of flat back pearls that you can add onto your cards and other projects. If you spend $25, you're going to get a random stencil So we're just going to add a stencil to your order. And you'll see these pop into your cart as you place your order. They automatically add to your cart, so it's not anything you have to remember to add. And then if you spend $50, you're going to get one of our sets of postage dies. And that has some different size postage stamp type dies. Okay, so now we have some nice orange flowers, and you can leave them, orange like that, but I want to add just a little extra color to them. So I'm going to take the other end of my dauber, which I've already used in my Dress Shop Pink ink pad already. I definitely want to tap some of that off because that is a really rich, deep, dark pink. And I want to make sure I'm not adding too much at first. You can always add more ink as you go, but once you've tapped that on there, it's really hard to take it away, isn't it? There we go. We'll get just a little pink in the center. And you can dab this ink right over the top of the foiled image because the foil will actually resist the ink. This is a dye ink, so the foil actually just resists it. So it's still going to be super sparkly and shiny when you're done. I'm just picking up a little bit more of that pink ink from my stencil. I don't really need to go back into the ink pad. There's plenty of it sitting on that stencil that I can use just to deepen the color in the center of the flowers. Just radiate that out just a little bit into the petals. I think that looks nice. All right. So we're done with that side of the stencil. Let's take a look. Let's take a look so far. Oh, look how pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? And look how easy it is to add that color to the panel. So now let's do the last side of the stencil, and that's going to do the little flower buds. They're not opened up yet. So I'm just going to line it up. Now I have to be careful because on this side of the stencil is where I put all my excess ink. So I don't want to like rub into that bluish green there with my orange and pink and muddy it up. So I'm just going to be a little careful. I'm going to make these orange at first. These are also, along with the buds, these little sliver pieces here are kind of folded parts of the petals on the other flowers. So we're just using our orange first. And I want a nice deep color. So we just tap in our ink and then tap onto the flower. Okay, and then I do want to use the pink again as well. So I'm just going to tap into the pink. Again, I'm going to tap a little off here. I do want a little bit deeper pink for these little buds. Just want them a little darker maybe so they contrast a little more from the opened flowers. So I'm just adding a bit more pink to them. That one will be real pink. Let's add a little more pink to this one. So we're really going to have like a nice coral color almost, blending the pink with the orange on these. But we should see a difference in them from the first flowers we did. They're a little deeper in color. Okay. And let's not forget, almost forgot, our bird up at the top there. We've got his little beak. We've got to finish his beak. So I'm just going to do that in an orange. Maybe just keep it light. Okay. I'm just going to put this one in my bag. Since I'm not cleaning it off right away, I don't want to get that ink on everything around me. And I'm going to close up my ink pads real quick. Get those out of the way, and then let's move the stencil and see what we've got. Oh, I love it. Let's see if I can I'm telling you, got to clean off my crafty table here. A little bit too much stuff everywhere. Look how gorgeous that is. We just used 4 colors of ink and those ink daubers, and did not take us any time at all just to dab that on there. Really pretty. And with the foiled accent, that just really adds to it. So here, just to show the difference, so the different looks you can get. On the right is the one I stamped and colored with my Olo alcohol markers. And then on the left, we've foiled the foilable instead of stamping the image, and we colored it with a stencil and just some dye-based inks. So 2 beautiful looks, but totally different methods of how we did it. So you can have lots of fun creating with these songbird images in different ways. So I want to get out my dauber that I was using with the green. Because I want to add the sentiment to this one. And I'm not sure if I want it white or if I want it green, like maybe it'll pop out a little bit more if it's not white. So I'm not sure. I'm going to try one with the green. Let me grab the green ink pad. Okay. All right, let's get our inked panel out of the way. We don't want to mess that one up. All right, so I'm also just going to color my paper because I just stamped this on white cardstock. I'm also just going to color my cardstock with my ink, with the ink dauber. Look at that. So simple and easy to daub that ink on there and make the cardstock the color that I want it. There we go. And as the ink dries, our ink, it'll smooth out and look nice and smooth, and it'll lighten up just a tad. So let's set the dauber out of the way. I'm going to close the ink pad up. Let's see what we think. There it is in green. Or I have one in white. Well, they both look nice, I think. So I could go either way with the sentiment. Let's see what the green looks like on the marker panel. Okay, that looks good on there. It goes nicely with the green in the leaves. And we've got the white. So we could go either way. So I'm going to get some foam tape and we will make a card out of our foiled panel. I'm going to move my messy piece. So I love to keep the backings to our stencils. They're nice and large and they're great work surfaces when you're doing your ink blending and such. And then you don't feel bad throwing them away because they're just a package insert, but yet you've used it and not just thrown it away out of the package. We have a use for it. So let's get foam tape. I'm going to get my giant foam roll. This is our foam tape. You get 108 feet of adhesive foam on here. I just cut it with regular scissors. Our foam tape is 3/8 of an inch wide. It's a 1/16 of an inch thick, so it's not too thick that you couldn't easily mail your cards. It's really easy to cut. As you can see, I'm just using regular scissors. It is super sticky, but it's not real gummy and mushy, so it's easy to cut with your scissors. And then the other thing I love about it is it's easy to remove the release paper from the back. It's not too much of a struggle. So I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of our sentiments. I've got a whole other card panel that I can color later. I just did an extra one. Let's adhere our foiled piece to our card base. So I have some of our pebble cardstock, which is a nice craft color. And I just have a top folding A2 size card that I cut from the cardstock. I thought this color would look nice with the gold, the sparkly gold foil that I used. I thought that craft would look really nice like that, with that, and along with the orangey tones that we used to color the image. I'll also mention if you're ink blending on our foilable paper, like I mentioned, it's got a little bit of gloss to it, a little sheen. So the ink takes a few extra minutes to dry on it. So I notice where it might be a little thicker. It's dry now, but it took a few extra minutes to dry in a few areas. You just want to give it that time to dry. All right, so let's just add this panel to our card base. Just like so. And now we can add our sentiments. I think I'm going to add the white one onto this one that has the craft card base. I think it just kind of stands out more since we have that colored card base. Just put it right here, right in the middle. Thinking of you and smiling. I'm gonna have some perfect cards to send to some friends. Okay, let's add the sentiment to this one. And there we go. Again, here's the songbird image that I stamped with the stamp and colored with my Olo alcohol markers. And then here is the foilable songbird image that I colored with the coordinating stencil and just a couple of ink colors. So you can make a variety of different looking cards with the same image just by using the foilable or using the stamp and using different methods of coloring them in. So that's all I have for today. I just wanted to pop in. I haven't been able to go live in a couple of weeks. Just wanted to pop in and create with you guys. I hope you're all enjoying your Sunday afternoon. It's getting a little cloudy here. I don't know if we're expecting rain or not, but thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And you can find all these products that I used at pinkandmain.com or ask your local retailer. I will see you again soon, my friends. Keep living the creative life.